We just had a little break. Is everyone feeling fresh?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Hi, my name is Avy Taylor and I'm Miss Fort Worth. As Miss Fort Worth, my platform, Hope's Toolbox, came from my two combined passions, my 9-to-5 architecture and my 24/7 suicide prevention advocacy. My platform, Hope's Toolbox, directly teaches people practical mental health coping tools to add to their own toolbox, to bridge the provider gap, to get people the treatment that they need now, and to end loss of life in Texas.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you.
You have a lot going on in here, which is great.
Yes.
Let's see, who's made the biggest impact on your life
Oh my goodness.
and why?
Yes, so I'm thinking of a very specific moment when I was on the roof of the shelter in South America with a 10-year-old Peruvian girl named Milagros, which means miracle. And we were hanging clothes on the clothesline, and I asked her, "What are you looking forward to this weekend?" Just making small talk with a 10-year-old Peruvian girl, as you do. And she said, "I'm looking forward to you staying here forever." And it was this moment that I realized that I wasn't just a college girl anymore, who a couple weeks ago I was getting ready for a party on a Friday night. I was someone who was dealing with true human suffering, and I was lucky enough that they saw me as a family member. And so as Miss Texas, it's my goal to touch every person who's suffering from depression and suicidal ideation with that same feeling of family and understanding.
So after you took the break from college, didn't you go back? Where'd you go? What'd you get a degree in?
Yes, so I came back during COVID, which was crazy. I escaped through a military blockaded airport, and I came back and I was sleeping on couches and waiting tables and sewing face masks. But I did end up going back to UT Dallas, where I graduated cum laude.
Congrats. And what's your degree in?
Public health and political science, actually, which I love for my platform, suicide prevention, but my job is architecture marketing, so it's a little bit different.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your experience with the NAMI organization?
Yes, so I've been working with NAMI for a year. I'm an official volunteer with them, and I'm trained as a lead presenter to do their Ending the Silence presentation, and I've been able to speak to 100 kids about how to end the silence, about how to recognize mental illness in themselves and people around them.
What role does empathy play in meaningful volunteer work?
I feel like empathy means that you have the ability to really sit down with people and hear their story. And as someone with lived experience of depression and suicidal ideation, I think about when I was at the Texas State Capitol advocating for suicide prevention policy. And it was because of my empathy, I believe, and my lived understanding that in between lobbying for bills that ended up being passed, exciting, I sat down with the father and I spoke to him about his son, who had died by suicide 10 years ago. And we cried together as we ate Subway sandwiches, but we still talk and I still help him with his nonprofit.
Avy, a big part of Miss Texas is speaking with and engaging with a lot of children. How do you plan on resonating your platform to this audience?
So I believe that suicide prevention looks different with every age. Whenever I speak to little kids, I talk to them about mental health and how to take care of themselves and how they're feeling. And I love using the Hope's Toolbox props that I do, which is a purple toolbox and little cards that we can draw our coping tools on. But if I'm going to speak to high schoolers, which I can relate to them, I know that they're dealing with big emotions and big feelings, I talk to them about how to recognize the S word, suicide. And I'm also a really big advocate on saying the S word, suicide, and having everything out in the open to converse.
Tell us about your stuttering. I don't know what that type of speech blocking is.
So speech blocking, I've had it since I was a kid, which I'm super glad that it hasn't come out now, cool. But I will be saying something and my mouth will stop and I won't be able to say anything. And so it looks like I'm nervous or I don't know what to say, but it's actually a neurological issue. But I actually spoke at Camp Dream Speak Live, which is a stuttering camp for kids a couple weeks ago. And it's so cool that they have changed their view on stuttering to now it's not an issue, but they encourage kids to stutter openly.
Maybe I'm on a lighter note.
Yes.
I'm assuming your natural curls are natural.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Within our pageant world, has anybody said you need to straighten your hair out?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, whenever I was competing for Miss Fort Worth, my director said, "Would you consider straightening your hair?" And I said, No. I'm sorry, because this is just who I am. And if I'm going up to little girls and telling them to be themselves and their most authentic self, how can I do that if I have very damaged, bleached blonde hair? Nothing against that. I used to have that, but I'm very proud of my little curlies.
Tell us about your violin training.
Yes, thank you so much for asking. I started when I was 11 years old, and actually one of the violinists that I looked up to a lot was Lindsay Sterling, whose piece I'm playing for you tomorrow. But I was trained by members of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, and my training is classical. So I picked up violin very quickly. I think it came from my stuttering. I'm able just to pick up music pretty well.
Talk about the stand-up comedy.
Ooh!
Yeah, we're all probably dying to hear more about it.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I love comedy. Comedy came, I believe, from also the stuttering. I didn't make friends very easily when I was growing up, but if I could make them laugh, that was how I could get people on my side. So I've been doing stand-up for about a year. I've done 2 levels of stand-up comedy training at Dallas Comedy Club, and I'm a regular there. And I've also done 5 levels of improv training.
In the performance of that, have you ever had the freeze happen with your?
Oh yeah, but I just stutter proudly.
Yeah.
I love doing stand-up about pageantry, actually. I always say, people say sometimes that they can't tell that I'm a pageant queen, but I feel like it's obvious. I'm always made up, my Instagram feed's popping off, and I am in severe credit card debt. I'm just kidding, I'm not. Rocket money's good.
What would be some advice that your feisty Greek grandma would give you?
Oh my goodness, so imagine that y'all are me and I'm my grandma and you just told me that you have a boyfriend. Avy, if he is not doctor, lawyer, or engineer, make sure he's not bald. Real.
Oh my goodness. Who's your favorite comedian?
I really like Shane Gillis and Dave Chappelle, that kind of comedy.
I've noticed in my own practice that there's a little bit of a war on comedy with the young people. Can you speak to maybe some of the things that they find problematic and why?
Yes, I feel like people view comedy as offensive or blue humor, kind of dirty, but if you do comedy training, they tell you to stay away from that, actually, because those are the low-hanging fruit, those are easy blows, but we want to use comedy to talk about wider social issues.
And if you could
Yes.
have lunch with the governor, what would you like to talk to him about?
Quite a pivot. Yes, I'm in that mode now. So I think I would like to talk to him about getting more mental health professionals in schools. And that was something that I actually advocated for in May. I was with NAMI at the Texas State Capitol, and I helped pass Senate Bill 646 for mental health loan repayment for mental health professionals. So I believe that that's really important.
How can you encourage positive use of social media as Miss Texas?
Yes, I believe that Miss America has a golden opportunity for inspiring young women across the world, and I believe that Miss America's social media should be transparent and authentic. So as Miss Fort Worth, I'm always about, I don't use ChatGPT to write my captions or do filters. I try to post 1 video or photo a week with no makeup. Like last week, I was with Zamaria Choice, Miss Salina at Legacy Taylor, and we were just having fun, no makeup. And then I also want to do a Train with Avy series where I talk about healthy body image and healthy training.
Do you believe that there's a way to responsibly use AI to make you a better thinker and learner?
A better thinker and learner, no. I believe that AI is taking away our ability to think cognitively and make our own decisions when it's so easy just to ask ChatGPT what you think.
And I'm worried about AI having an impact on the architecture business. How do you feel about that?
I think that AI is no competition for my boss, Craig Meldy, who can sketch the Dallas Cathedral Guadalupe Chapel by hand.
What's one lesson schools didn't teach you that you believe every young woman should know?
How to recognize difficult emotions. And that's something that I use with Hope's Toolbox on how to recognize what difficult feelings look like and how to manage them. That's 30 seconds? Oh my goodness. Well, thank you all so much. My name is Avy. I'm Miss Fort Worth. I'm a comedian. I'm an architecture professional. But most importantly, I am a builder. I built a stutter into stand-up comedy, and I built depression and suicidal ideation into Hope's toolbox. And now as Miss Texas, I want to build something bigger than I ever have before. That's a future where no Texan or American dies by suicide. Thank you so much. I'll see you tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.